Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. CEO David Zaslav has come out and discussed the success or non-success of Superman opening weekend. I feel like this is kind of early days, actually, to say whether this is a success or not, which sounds quite hypocritical when we compare rhetoric to do with Marvel films, but it's not really, because when a Marvel film releases, if it doesn't make bank, typically speaking, we know that it'll drop on average 60% the next weekend, and then they don't typically leg out to be great hits. We don't actually know what DC's going to do. We don't have a historical reference because this is a new take on DC, right? So, not really hypocritical if you view it from that perspective, which is the objective one. But anyway, he has come out and discussed its success. That's kind of what they're calling it to be. And also spoken about the future of the DCU. And I feel like it's interesting to cover, so we're going to cover it. What do you guys think of Superman? I've made a few videos on this now since its release. I did my review. We've covered the box office. But it is this weird, very weird nexus point for tribalism. I don't quite understand it, but it is what it is. So let me know what you think of it down below, and if you're going to go watch it, and if you have watched it. So anyway, David Zaslav, he releases a statement on Superman's success and the future of the DCU. I will say this, right, is that this initiative that David Zaslav put into place, pretty much everything for Warner Brothers is hinging on this. Outside of their horror films, pretty much everything is hinging on this, in terms of them becoming a big powerhouse studio once more. Because they have this IP, they need to start making bank from it. It's the same as Disney, really. Like Disney's films have been middling, but what has carried them over as a hugely successful studio over the years, recently, has been Marvel. Marvel is the biggest franchise in terms of just raw box office tickets anyway that has ever graced the theatres. And Warner Brothers wants to replicate that level of success. That's what they want. And their other movies haven't been hugely successful. They've actually taken some wild risks over the years. Some have panned out, some haven't. But David Zaslav's put a lot of emphasis and a lot of weight on the shoulders of James Gunn and Peter Safran. They have to have this be successful. They really do. They really, really, really do. So it says this: with the weekend box office numbers exceeding initial projections, that's not me, I'm just quoting the article, for James Gunn's Superman, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav has issued a statement regarding the film's success. So here it is. 3 years ago, I hired James Gunn and Peter Safran to reimagine and unify the creative direction of DC under one leadership team by breathing new life and excitement into one of the most iconic storytelling franchises in the world. James and Peter's commitment to honouring the legacy of the DC universe whilst forging something new and enthralling is inspired. I remember my first meeting with James 3 years ago. He spoke about growing up in Missouri and how the characters of the DC universe weren't just stories to him. They were like his family. Sounds fucking lame, but alright. Sure. His personal bond with the DC heroes was powerful, and I knew then that James was the right person to bring them to life. His love for DC world runs deep, and it shines in every frame of his work. This weekend we watched Superman soar as James Gunn's passion and vision came to life on the big screen. Superman is just the first step. Over the next year alone, DC Studios will introduce the films Supergirl and Clayface in theatres, and the series Lanterns on HBO Max, all part of a bold 10-year plan. The DC vision is clear, the momentum is real, and I couldn't be more excited for what's ahead. Interesting. Very interesting. So, a few things to break down there. They apparently have a 10-year plan. Probably shouldn't do that. This, Lanterns on HBO Max. I am really surprised DC... As a statement, as a whole statement, by the way. Like, it's a fine statement. It's clearly just trying to get people hyped and excited. And it makes sense. I can understand why they're doing it. Some of it's a bit pandery, but whatever. But this stuff's, like, this is a massive misstep for HBO. And by proxy, Warner Brothers. Or, you know, Warner Brothers by proxy, HBO. Lanterns. The series Lanterns. Like, you have so much to learn from Disney. Like, streaming series. Just stop. Lanterns, I don't think is going to garner any level of... I don't think it's going to get you any subscribers for HBO. Now, maybe as a money laundering sort of exercise, you know, a tax break. Yeah, it makes sense, maybe, I guess. But I can't see Lanterns being hugely successful. You can't divest, you know, the focus away from the big screen and expect people to be into it. Right, you're introducing Green Lanterns that need to be on the big screen. I don't think anyone, the vast majority of people, I don't think are going to watch Lanterns. That's my bold prediction. You know, it's not like the Penguin, for instance, which started out in a movie and then crossed into a TV series, and thus you would get people to watch it because they were excited for that character to come back again and be explored. That's a completely different format. But now you're introducing characters in a TV series that then may eventually end up on the big screen. That's pretty bold. That's pretty bold, and I think it's a massive misstep. I think it's a huge misstep, in fact. And I don't think it's going to be hugely successful, but it is what it is. So, you know, it says this: after a rocky last few years, Zaslav has to be feeling bullish about the future of the studio. A Minecraft movie, Sinners, F1, Final Destination, Bloodlines, and now Superman have all exceeded studio expectations. I don't know how many of them have made plenty of money, though. It'll be interesting to see. Zach Kreger's Weapons, I think, will be hugely successful. Warner Brothers have had a really good run of money when it comes to horror lately. They've almost turned into the horror studio, to be fair. And then you get things like this. You know, it's a sure bet to say that Superman will end up doing over $300 million at domestic box office this summer. RT AUD score is a red-hot 95%. With lots of beers ahead this busy weekend. It's super early, but even crossing 350 million looks likely for Clark Kent and gang. I don't know if that's the case. Who knows? We will see. I think that is very, very early to say. The worrying thing about this is, of course, the international box office isn't great. You know, it's just not that great. But people are thinking it's going to do 300 million domestically. Will they see that as a success? Who knows? I don't know. But I think word of mouth will probably carry this. And there is also now some sort of statements going out there that they are effectively going to be doing, or they've confirmed anyway, that they're definitely going to be doing 2 live action movies and like an animated thing every single year. That's kind of their push now. Sure, whatever. We'll see how it transpires. I don't know. Let's see. Interesting though. You know, he's clearly, and I think potentially, counting his chickens before they come home to roost. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Take care. Bye-bye.